I'm Eileen, a 32-year-old housewife. My husband Sean and I have been married less than a month ago, so we are newlyweds. We dated for 10 years since we were students, so after we got married, it didn't feel like there was anything new at all. We've heard stories about people who's been dating each other for too long, but not ended up getting married, so I wondered if we would end up the same way and worried about it. But on my birthday, my husband proposed to me. I immediately said yes, of course, because I was very happy. Even while I was dating my husband, there were all sorts of problems. But I could tell that he finally chose me, so I was very relieved.
I think I will be a little late today, so I don't need dinner. Well then, I'm off.
Take care. We don't have children yet, of course, so after I send my husband off to work, I can spend my free time as much as I want. We think about having children and raising them, but on the other hand, I've always wanted to start my own business. Of course, I want children, but spending the rest of my life doing my own work is what I really want to do. So in my free time, I do some research on the internet and read books. And then, of course, I read management books and study about my favorite interior design because I quit my job when I got married. To have a husband who lets me spend this kind of free time, I'm very grateful. My husband came home late that night while I was in the bath.
I need to talk to you for a minute, so let's talk in the living room.
A talk? About what? I go out of the bath and went to the living room. My husband was sitting on the couch, wearing his suit for some reason. Aren't you going to change?
No, I will get changed later.
I sat next to my husband on the couch.
I'm really sorry, but I will be straightforward with you. I want you to divorce me.
What?
I'm actually dating the president's daughter, and she wants to marry me. So please divorce me.
It was sudden, so I didn't understand. Divorce? We've been married less than a month. And yet, just because he wanted to grant his girlfriend's wish, he's telling me to cancel our marriage. I was stunned.
I'm trying to get ahead. If I marry the president's daughter, I will definitely get ahead. So let's get a divorce.
In fact, my husband was a man who had been unfaithful to me for a long time. During the 10 years we have been together since we were students, he had had over a dozen flings. It's just that I have been a little busy with things, so if I leave him alone for just a moment, he will be soon cheating on me. He would say that it's because he was feeling unloved, but no sooner than I'll tell him I'm leaving, he would end the fling and then come back to me. My husband has always seemed to be frustrated with me, yet we had been together for 10 years. So, when my husband proposed to me, I conveniently thought that he was ready to grow old with me, but apparently that was a mistake. I tried to hold back my tears and said, "Fine, but alimony will be high, you know."
Of course, I will pay you alimony. Amy also said I will pay her a good amount.
Okay, then I will make it 10 million in alimony.
Okay, I will get the payment ready for you.
With that, my husband went out again. I was left there, wondering what those 10 years of dating him and this marriage were all about. I couldn't stop crying. Divorce after less than a month of marriage. It's really stupid. Because if I had left him sooner, I didn't have to go out with him for 10 years. It would have been better if we had split up earlier. I was already completely regretting trusting such a husband like him. It's because the unfaithfulness I had endured was never going to be healed. He paid the fee in less than a week, and did so without delay. We divorced without any problems. As we parted, he laughed mockingly and said lightly, "Do your best too." It really pissed me off. Only he could be happy and have a bright future. He seemed to feel pity for me for being left alone. What a rotten guy, I thought, seeing my husband's true nature. I moved out of the apartment we had been living in together for a long time and moved into a small one near the train station. I was told I could take whatever household goods I wanted, so I brought almost everything. The move was completed, so I took a break at night alone with a beer. Now, what am I going to spend $10 million on? I decided to build a company. Meanwhile, my ex-husband has remarried with the daughter of the company president, and his position at the company improved. But I was looking forward to the change. But then, the incident happened. The company's accounting irregularities were discovered, and the father-in-law was caught by the police and had to resign. My ex-husband was in a hurry because his position within the company was quickly deteriorating. He never thought that this would happen. If he looked good for his father-in-law, he would get promoted to a good position. Becoming president is not just a dream. That's what he dreamed about. But his father-in-law resigned. My ex-husband's backing at the company is gone. He had to resign. Thanks to this, it's even more boring for him than before. He got sent to a lower department, far from their headquarters. It's like a nice little island getaway. Nothing much to do all day, just sitting in your seat looking at the phone without much to do. He'd just be in the smoking room smoking a cigarette. That's what became of his job. I then started an online store for interior design, which I had been thinking about for a long time. I was busy with various preparations for the launch. I will start with small items and eventually handle large furniture and other items. I wanted to make it a store. I started by coming up with a company name. Then, I did all sorts of miscellaneous work to set up the company. Should I commission an e-commerce site, or do I want to make it myself first? I also rented warehouses for suppliers and inventory, and hired staff for shipping, designing the shipping boxes, etc., etc. Anyway, there was plenty to do. I was rushing headlong toward starting my own business. My ex-husband was completely out of my mind. Meanwhile, on the side of the president's family, his father-in-law was arrested by the police for accounting irregularities. So aside from taking care of his new wife Eileen, he also had to take care of his mother-in-law and sister-in-law. After his father-in-law got out on bail, he divorced his wife and moved out of the house. Actually, the president family had a large amount of debt. The mansion that my ex-husband had been living had been mortgaged, so they had nowhere else to stay. Although there was a president family, he got caught by the police. The mother-in-law and president's 3 daughters couldn't go back to their former life. Since they'd lived a life of luxury since birth, it all led to debt. And even now, if they don't do something about it, they will be forced out of their house. They think life will be the same as it has always been. That's why they all assume that my ex-husband will make it happen. The women in the president family had no idea about the salary of the company employee, who was relegated to a lower position. And yet, they still try to use my ex-husband at every turn. "Sean, I'd like to go shopping at the department store. Can you please take me there?"
Take you there? What in the world are you going to buy at the department store?
Huh? Oh, I wanted to buy Millie's winter clothes. I wish I could buy her some.
Millie, you don't need to buy dog clothes at the department store.
My husband couldn't help but gasp. Even though they were in such a dire situation, they didn't seem to understand that, and still had the nerve to buy clothes for their dog at the department store. "What? Millie is part of the family. Don't you even understand that? Hey Sean, Don't you even know how much we take good care of Millie? Is what his sister-in-law said.
What don't I understand? Instead of the dog clothes, we should worry about not losing this house.
Oh, that's something you will take care of, right? Besides, we can't do anything about it. You'll do your best, right? We are counting on you. So, could you please take me to the department store? It was hard to talk to the women in the president family. My ex-husband was alone, getting irritated and worrying all by himself. And the savings my ex-husband had quickly ran out. I got a call from my grandma today. It's about getting together again this year at our villa in Miami.
A vacation home? For free?
Huh? You mean does it cost money? From what I have heard, it's in a high-end area in Miami. It was said that there was a villa that belonged to my grandfather-in-law. So she wants us to gather there. Of course, it's going to cost a lot of money for traveling. After my ex-husband listened to his mother-in-law,
I want you to be patient and give up the trip this year,
he said. Then his mother-in-law said, What? Every year all my relatives get together at the villa. If we don't participate, people will wonder what happened to us.
No. Do you understand our financial situation? There is a substantial amount of debt. You should try to cut it down a bit.
You just can't make a living, can't you? His mother-in-law got angry and told all her relatives, including her grandmother-in-law, about just how worthless he was.
Oh, come on. No matter how much I try to manage it, how do you not know that I'm doing my best?
My ex-husband was really fed up. I don't really understand what's going on. I, on the other hand, started with a simple listing and opened an e-commerce store. The e-commerce store got off to a good start with lamps and other items like the ones in the drama that are currently airing. So sales were increasingly very well. I am also a certified interior coordinator, and I upload various photos on social media, as well as starting a blog on interior design, we are attracting more customers. Anyway, we managed to create an online store that sells consistently. Although I struggle with it every day, I was living such a fulfilling life. I was starting to feel like divorcing my ex-husband was the right thing to do. Even before I got married, my ex-husband had been cheating on me for 10 years. I started to think that I'd been living while feeling bothered by it every day, which was a huge waste of time. If I were to live with him while feeling uneasy, I'd rather just leave and do what I want to do like I'm doing now. I learned to be happy. I realized again that my ex-husband was a difficult person to deal with. At the end of the year, his new wife Eileen came back from a relative's memorial service, and with an angry look, told him that her cousins made fun of her. The fact that they couldn't go to the summer villa due to debt and having to cut back on their lifestyle had spread amongst their relatives. And then, you have zero discernment to marry such a worthless man. Your father was forced to resign as president as a result of his dishonesty. The whole family don't use their eyes to see, do they? Was what her unmarried cousin of the same age said, making fun of her. It's all your fault. What are you? You're a man and you can't even make a decent living. Before our marriage, you looked so high and mighty saying you were trying to be successful in business. What was that about?
That's not my fault. It's your family's fault for having lived like that when you were in debt in the first place. Even your father had to commit fraud for you guys because you needed money, right?
What's that? You say that like it's our fault.
It is. All you do is spend money without thinking. And you have no idea how much money I make.
Amy had to endure some things. She always used to go to the theater with her friends, but had stopped doing that. They tried to buy as little clothing as possible. However, their frugality was still different from that of the average person. They'd still buy some high-end beef at the department store. And for them, when it comes to luxury food, they'd say, "It can't be helped," and they'd keep buying. I wish I'd never married you. We went to the trouble of paying $10 million in alimony, but it's really silly that I got something worthless instead. I'm not sure that not having money is the end of the world, but at some point in time, his mother-in-law and sisters-in-law started blaming my ex-husband for everything. It had been almost a year since my ex-husband and I divorced. My e-commerce store is making quite a lot of sales. I was thinking of strengthening my brand and getting more hands-on with my e-commerce site. I'm also learning about marketing. I attended seminars and other events often. A marketer who taught at one of the seminars I attended. I befriended a man 3 years older than me who has also published a book. We started going out a lot. Not only do we talk about marketing and e-commerce, which is what I'm studying, but we also follow each other's social media accounts, and we've been talking about the photos we've uploaded. We always have a lot to talk about. I always have a very good time with him. I was beginning to think if I could be with him forever. Then one day, my ex-husband came to visit me at my apartment. After more than a year of not seeing each other, he looked very skinny. "What on earth are you doing here after all this time?" My ex-husband suddenly started crying, got down on his knees and started apologizing.
I'm so sorry.
What the hell is wrong with you? I don't even think about you anymore. My ex-husband looked up, weeping, and said,
Please help me. Actually, the president got caught for accounting irregularities, so he resigned and left a mountain of debt. And every day, I'm blamed by my wife and mother-in-law for being unworthy.
I don't know, we are strangers now.
I'm really sorry, and I apologize for all of it. I will apologize for the rest of my life, so please help me.
I can't. You have to leave. My ex-husband seems to be trying to be even more persistent.
We've been together for 10 years since we were students. I'm not a stranger, so please.
You cheated on me over and over again during those 10 years. What are you talking about?
I won't do it again. I promise I won't do it again. So help me out. I have no savings. I'm in real trouble, and I have no one else to turn to.
And then he cries. I remember when we got divorced, the last thing he said to me was, "Do your best too." You know, last time, you told me to hang in there, didn't you? So I did my best. I started my own business, and now I'm the president of my own company.
Yeah, it's great. You are so much better at what you do than I am. I'm so sorry. Please help me.
My ex-husband, who mocked me when he won last time, was on his knees. I feel bad for him, but I was happy to think that I had won. Although it was humiliating at the time, I used what he told me as fuel and worked so hard to get to where I am. Then the intercom rang. When I went outside, apparently his mother-in-law, his wife, and his sisters-in-law were there. Well, it looks like they're here for you.
What the hell? Get rid of me already. I'm sick of this. I already requested for divorce. Try to understand. I won't come back anymore.
What are you talking about? You're the one who can't help it. Let's go home. You're our breadwinner, so we need you to work harder. Hey, let's go home. My ex-husband looked at me, wanting me to help him somehow. But I, of course, pushed him away. Now, please leave. We are strangers now. Please don't come here again.
Oh no, Eileen, please help me.
Amy was trying to pull him and take him away. I thought this would be the last time I would see my ex-husband, so I said to him, "Do your best too." Later on, I remarried to the man whom I met at the seminar. The business is doing well, and the percentage of our e-commerce sales is now close to 50%. I don't know what my ex-husband has been doing since then. I sometimes wonder if my saying, "Do your best too," had been of any use to him.